Hi everyone. My name is Gabby Marabido, and I'm the Community Development Coordinator here at Zeitgeist Center for Arts and Community. Thank you for joining us today for this conversation about accessible transportation with an expert from the Lighthouse Center for Vital Living. This event is part of Zeitgeist's annual Bus Bike Walk Month, and we start our events with the acknowledgement that Zeitgeist and the Twin Ports are built on land that was originally Anishinaabe, Akang, and home to the Anishinaabe and Dakota people, the original stewards of this territory. This land was ceded by the Anishinaabe in the 1842 and 1854 treaties, and historically and today it holds great significance for Indigenous people. We are committed to uplifting the name of these lands and community members from these nations who reside alongside us. This acknowledgement sets us up for today's discussion about how we can mindfully create communities and systems that support citizens at all stages of life and are welcoming, safe, and accessible for all, which is at the core of Bus Bike Walk Month events. I'd encourage you to check out the full list of upcoming Bus Bike Walk activities on our webpage. Also, a big thank you to the event sponsors who, along with a team of volunteers and committee members, make these events possible. And I'll just put the Bus Bike Walk link in the meeting chat in a few. And so it's my pleasure today to introduce today's presenter, Jesse Markhart from Lighthouse Center for Vital Living. Please feel free to use the chat to enter any questions you have during the presentation. And Jesse, I will turn it over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jesse Markhart. I am a COVID Community Coordination Project Manager for Lighthouse Center for Vital Living. And I've just got a short presentation today on accessible recreation and transportation resources for the spring and summer. So first kind of resources, Duluth Transit Authority. So for accessibility resources for Duluth Transit Authority, there is STRIDE. This is short for Special Transit Ride. It's a dial-a-ride transportation service for qualified individuals with disabilities in the Twin Ports. It operates within 3/4 of a mile from the DTA's regular routes in the city of Superior, Proctor, Hermantown, and Rice Lake, and within the city boundaries of Duluth. And if you go to the DTA website, there are applications available there that you can fill out and submit to see if you are eligible for that. Otherwise, the DTA's regular buses have the ability to lower for wheelchairs or other assistive devices to get on the bus. And then towards the front of the bus, they have wheelchair spots with belts to keep chairs or scooters in place. And then they've also got bike racks, grocery bins, and the drivers are really helpful with that. They'll help secure your chair or your scooter. And then routes and schedules can be found on the DTA website, but you can also access them through the Google Maps app. If you pull up your destination, it's really handy in the spot where you can pick person, walking, or a car. There's also a spot to hit a bus, a picture of a bus, and then that will show you whatever available routes and times there are to get to your destination. And then Salvation Army and Damiano Center can sometimes help with the financial side of bus passes. So they can sometimes provide bus passes or help pay for bus passes. Oops. Uh-oh. I went too far. Gotta start back. There we go. Okay, so some other options for transportation. There is the Minnesota Non-Emergency Medical Transportation that's offered by MTM, and it's for non-emergencies, for doctor's appointments, hospital discharges, and that's for those that are on Minnesota medical assistance. And there are also options available for mileage reimbursement and stretcher ambulance rides. And then there's also KEPRO, which provides wheelchair vehicles. And if you can't get your medical care within 30 miles for primary care or 60 miles for specialty care, your primary doctor can provide a statement verifying that you need to get that medical care. and that it's outside the 30-mile or 60-mile range. And then you will still be able to get a ride through MTM or through CapGrow. However, if you're choosing to get medical care from a different provider or a specialty care provider, that's not necessary. You might have to pay for your own transportation. And in the McGregor-Aiken area, there is a group called McGregor Angels. They're volunteers that will offer transportation to appointments, to support groups. They're very helpful. And then there are also private pay options for transportation, Uber, Lyft, and accessible van transportation through agencies such as Northern Access, Freedom, and Pathways. So for recreation, one resource is called Courage Kenny. They provide adaptive sports and recreation opportunities in the Northland. So they've got just a variety of classes and events that they can offer, including, as you can see here, adaptive yoga, skiing and snowboarding in the winter, archery, curling, cycling, dog sledding, again in the winter, golf, kayak day trips, soccer, rock climbing, rowing, sailing, kayaking, swim lessons, and water skiing. So this is a really great resource because they can provide all of these recreational activities, but make them adapted to a certain person's needs and abilities. And there's a picture here of an example of kind of an adapted bicycle. There's also Minnesota Accessible Recreation examples here. There is the Pacer Center has a website that will list just multiple programs for Minnesota youth, adaptive and accessible sports and recreation, including summer camps, ballet, dance, theater programs, outdoor activity programs such as adaptive horse riding, fishing, baseball. And they've also got resources for locating accessible parks and travel. And then a local resource is Continental Bike and Ski. The contact there is Mark Alsum, and he will actually meet with clients and assess their needs, and then can order and create specific adaptive bicycles for clients. So some spring and summer safety tips for those with disabilities. Always make sure to watch your service dog's paws. You want to make sure that your dog's walking on the grass when possible, walk when it's cooler outside, such as the morning or at night, equip your dog with boots, look out for poisonous plants so that the dog isn't getting into those, and make sure to keep your service animal hydrated and shaded. If you are an electric wheelchair user, make sure to frequently charge your battery in the summer. And this is something that I didn't know. Warmer weather can actually cause your batteries to drain faster. So the hotter it is out, the quicker the power will drain. Another tip is to use cycling gloves with manual wheelchairs to prevent burns and blisters on your hands. Avoid puddles. Again, they can just cause a danger because you never know how deep they are and you don't want to get stuck. And keep your ramp and your wheelchair clean and free from sticks, mud, and debris. And then, of course, keep aware of those basic summer risks, such as overheating, skin burns, dehydration, and making sure that if you're in a pool or at the lake that you're practicing water safety. So some more accessible summer activities. Just a few examples. Willard Munger State Trail is paved. Two segments of it is paved with asphalt. And there are parking lots outside the trail that are gravel, and in Duluth, they have an asphalt parking lot. Gooseberry Falls has 1 mile of accessible trail from the visitor center to the main falls area. The Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific Trail runs from 63rd Street west to Beck's Road. It's ADA compliant. It's a 10-mile trail. And some other options are the Aquarium, Canal Park, this month's events. We've got tours, history, food, improv, a lot of things going on this month that are accessible. And I just put a couple of contacts that have been really helpful for me in the past. Carl Crawford is the Human Rights Officer at St. Louis County, and then I put the Parks and Rec Duluth number there. Both of them have been great resources for me when I'm trying to evaluate if the park is going to be accessible or available for people in wheelchairs or with walkers, or just making sure that it's accessible. They've been great to really give me some pointers and let me know which parks would be the best options for any kind of events. And then I've just concluded with some sources and resources here to follow up with. We've got the DTA site there. I put Courage Kenny's website there. The Pacer website that's got all of those resources for Minnesota rec and sports. The MTM website there, and then again, I put Carl Crawford's information there, and then on the right is my information. If you have any questions or comments or information, that would be great. You can feel free to give me a call here at the Lighthouse. And that is the end of my presentation. It was short and sweet.
Hey, Jesse, question for you. This is Andrea. I'm wondering if you know of any, like you had some great information about trails, where they are, like accessibility on them. Are there any maps or sources of that information that somebody could find online if they weren't at this presentation?
Yeah, and am I still sharing my screen? Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to find, there was a pretty good website that I found. Here we go. So it's just on the DNR site, actually. They have a lot of different areas here that they kind of write exactly, which this is nice because it tells you exactly what the grade is and how steep the trail is. So if you're in a wheelchair, or maybe you can't travel for a really long distance, or you have a hard time getting up hills or down hills, this is a really good resource because it tells you exactly where it's paved, where it's gravel, even just telling you whether the bathrooms are accessible. So the DNR page is a good one for that. And then there's also,
and Jesse, I'll just note that we're seeing your PowerPoint slides, and we're not seeing, if you're showing us something on your screen, our view is of the PowerPoint right now.
Let me see if I can open it up here. There we go. Okay, can you see that now? Okay, so this is just the DNR page, and hopefully you can see this, where it's really nice and it shows exactly where, which sections of the trail are higher and lower, which sections are paved, where there are bathrooms. So the DNR site is a great resource for that. But even just Googling the city where you're going to go in Minnesota and just typing in really accessible trails, accessible hiking, and there are a lot of different resources where you're able to find some pointers for that. And Duluth Aging Support also has a section too. So that's where I've been able to find a lot of different resources, is just going into Google and typing in Duluth accessible trails or wherever you're going.
That's awesome. I didn't realize the DNR had that page developed. Cool. Thanks.
Jesse, are there any ways for the community to either get involved, either in bringing awareness or helping out even at Lighthouse, like any volunteer opportunities?
Well, we definitely have volunteer opportunities at Lighthouse. Mostly those are like kind of with our summer camps. We have adjustment to blindness camps for teenagers basically high school, I think up to 21, they can go to those camps. So we're always happy to have people volunteer for chaperoning those camps or driving. And there's a lot of other things around the lighthouse, just even reading the news, lots of things. So if volunteers are interested in helping out, and those camps are really fun, the kids are really great. So they can absolutely get a hold of me or call our office, and we will try to set them up with an opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I was also curious if there's any current projects work happening in the community that could use some more voices or advocacy around this topic that you know that might be a good time to activate people or call for their voices to be heard?
Sure, I think that it's always important, especially to, if you're disabled or if you have family members that have a need for that, just to let the city know and to let the Parks and Rec know that, hey, we are using these spaces and we would like to enjoy them and we would like to make them more accessible. Some of the trails or parks are not accessible, or there's just very little area that's accessible. So I just think letting the city know and letting Parks and Rec know that it's a need and that people are using the areas and they would use them more and put more money into, you know, Parks and Rec and parking and day passes for parks if things were more accessible. So I think that that's always important to voice that and give personal stories too.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thanks a lot. I'm very happy to be here. I'm a Carleton PhD student studying accessible maps and actually browsing maps. And my master's study was, you know, dragging the street view guy, but this time to do it with a 360 view with audio visual capabilities. So me and my supervisor, we're still focusing on this recreational map browsing. And I'm so excited that you say about stories about people that when they go and travel, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
And like the source that you gave us is just like contains text. But, you know, I'm doing my PhD study. So maybe let me explain you a little bit more about my study. We're trying to look at the important parts of the map, how to simplify the important map parts, and how to get identify the irrelevant information, and mainly with audio module and maybe with tactile module. But is there, like, I looked at the previous literature and everything, there is work going on, you know, to increase like tactile map reading and everything. But when people even talk about accessible maps, they're maybe talking about accessible information, but they're not yet talking about accessible maps. Like, so when they ask you, where can we find this information? It's just another website that somebody voluntarily did. And that's the same thing I find. I'm an accessibility expert at the Government of Canada, so I make sure the sites are browsed by the arrow key. So like, you know, do you think like the user, the users here, mostly visually impaired people, would they get benefit of using like browsing maps with this user story informations for recreational areas? Do you think there's a need for this?
I think any kind of, and I'm not an expert on this, but I think any kind of map that would have an audio element to it would be very helpful. And then, as you said, I think what you were saying was having the information there of people's own experience with those trails or with that area. Is that what you were saying?
So I found in the literature there is a need for visually impaired to travel to recreational areas, to, you know, just like you say, take the bus and there's a route there, 10 miles, and then learn more about it. And that's done with the pre-planning phase. There is a framework called SPACE framework. You can find it in the literature. I was thinking to prepare like Street View opportunity for visually impaired users, so that they can, like Street View, they can actually go to a location in a park, like I did for my forest review.
So it would be like Street View, but instead it would be like an audio description of what is in that area, kind of? Is that?
Yeah, so just like that, your story map, so we would have the text. So like browse, imagine you're browsing a web page, but then we would also have multimodal elements. So we would have text and we would have a map for them to interact with. So like that's what I'm trying to find out, like what's the best way to bring in interaction into this, because you
I
can
think
have
that would
like
be incredibly helpful to have something like that Google Earth, or like, because I use that all the time as somebody who is not visually impaired, just to kind of see trails and see what they look like and see how difficult they're going to be, or kind of what barriers would be there. And if there was something like that with text that had a description, or audio that had a description of that area, I think that would be incredibly helpful.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, the literature shows that the increasing use of phone is actually beneficial for visually impaired people, because they can actually use it to look for, like, to find more about the location. Is it fun? You know, is it worth going there? What shall I bring with me? Not necessarily just, you know, is it accessible? Does it have wheelchair? But other things than like us, you know, to find more about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I think that would be a great resource. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your support. Like I said, I'm a Carleton student. I'll put my link here, but
Yeah,
I'm doing a
great.
PhD research. I will try to send you more of my research maybe later.
That would be fantastic. I'd love that.
Awesome.
I think that would be so great, especially in these warmer months. I can just think of a lot of our clients that would really benefit from things like that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be in touch with you from Canada.
Yes.
Where are you guys at? I heard you were in USA and then.
Yeah, we're in Duluth, Minnesota. So not too far from Canada, but I don't know where you are in Canada. So.
Oh, I'm in Ottawa.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, well, any other questions or?
It looks, if there's any last questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And if not, I just want to remind everybody that this session was recorded. So if anybody needs to come back to any of the discussion or the resources that were available, it will be posted. And thank you guys so much for coming to this presentation. I will try to post all of the links as well that were put in the chat with the post of the video as well.
Oh, do you mind if I make one more? I've got one more quick question.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious about rider, if you know anything about the rider usage of Stride, and like number of people in the region that are using that. I realize it might be more of a question for the DTA.
Yeah, I don't know that offhand.
Do you hear if that is a effective tool that people are using, or are there still barriers to Stride in the way it's functioning? I'm just kind of curious about.
I haven't heard any. I know a lot of clients that I've worked with have used Stride to get back and forth to work. And I haven't heard complaints. I've heard that they're pretty helpful, and just of course the usual complaints about any kind of public transportation. It takes a really long time to get where you're going, and it can get crowded. I haven't heard anything, but again, that might be something to talk to Stride about, just to get numbers or see what people's concerns are. But other than kind of the basic public transportation complaints, I haven't heard anything specific about barriers.
Any other last questions from anybody? Well, thank you again, Jesse, for this awesome presentation. Will this be available as well to post somewhere, or is it something that can be shared at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to share it. I don't know if, just let me know where to share it to, if maybe on Facebook or somewhere, or on the website or something like that. Happy to share it wherever.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be in contact with you after this to figure out the best place and method for sharing the presentation and the Zoom meeting as well.
Yeah, and I can make kind of a little Word file too to go with the PowerPoint that kind of just breaks down things a little more and has some resources in it for people.
Awesome. That would be great. Thank you so much. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for coming. And we have some other great events as well, virtual presentations that touch on some similar topics, such as the elder community and accessibility specifically, the state of bike and ped infrastructure, how to be a safe driver, all of that. So, as well as a lot of other bus bike walk events. So feel free to check those out at busbikewalk.com. And I look forward to seeing you guys all in the future soon. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.